Reflecting with Alan Watts. What does the Master tell us? You cannot transform yourself. You cannot become sane. You cannot become loving. You cannot become selfless. And yet it is absolutely necessary that we be so. It is absolutely necessary. If we're a hand over the direction of nature to nature, which is what it comes down to, it is absolutely necessary that we let go of ourselves. And it cannot be done by anything that we call doing, acting, willing, or even just accepting things. You can't do it. Why? Because you don't really exist as that kind of ego or separate personality. It's just an idea based on a false feeling. So when we get down to it, it's shocking news to us, to the human race, to our pride. You're just making a mess of yourself by trying to straighten things out. You're trying to straighten out a wavy world, and it's no wonder you're in trouble. So you can't do anything. You can't transform yourself. And what can you do? What happens then if you really realize that you have reached a dead end, and the human race has reached a dead end? In my opinion, what then? Commit suicide? Or is there something else? What happens when you just wait? There's nothing you can do. You watch and all you see is what's happening on its own. You're breathing, the wind is blowing, the trees are swaying, your blood is circulating, your nerves are tingling. It's all happening on its own. But do you know that's you? That's the real you. The you that continues on its own is not the symbol, it is not the person, it is you that is happening, like when you breathe. Yes, you can have the feeling that I am breathing by forcing your breath, but your breathing continues day after day without you doing anything about it or even thinking about it. In the same way, your brain is working without you forcing it. So when you come to a dead end, and we are individually and socially now in 1970 at a dead end, this is the moment of which it is said that man's extremity is God's opportunity, because we have to stop. And when we stop, we find a world that is happening rather than being made, being pushed. And that happening as opposed to making is our fundamental being. And our fundamental being is not something that is just inside the skin. It is everything around us that we connect with. When you look through your eyes of the nature happening out there, you are looking at yourself. I'm not going to say what we should do from then on, but simply that before we think of doing anything in this critical situation, we should realize the completely illusory nature of the beings we think we are and return to the beings we really are, which includes all this outside world that is no longer left out. The Master invites us to abandon the illusion of control and the separate I, to reconnect with our true nature, which flows spontaneously and is interconnected with everything around us. I will give some examples with the paradox of personal change. The Master says that we cannot transform ourselves through willpower, even if we need a change. It is like when we try to force ourselves to sleep. The harder we try, the further away we get from sleep. True change happens when we stop fighting. The illusion of the separate self. We see ourselves as separate entities from the world, but this is an illusion. It is like thinking that a wave is independent of the ocean. The wave is simply a temporary expression of the ocean, not something separate from it. The problem with trying to fix the world. What suggests that trying to straighten out a wavy world only creates problems? It's like trying to control other people or situations too much. We create resistance and conflict. A parent who tries to overly shape their child may end up creating more problems than they solve. Reaching the dead end. When we recognize that our efforts to control are futile, we reach a crucial point. It is like the alcoholic who must first admit his powerlessness over his addiction before he can truly change. This moment of surrender can be transformative. discovering what happens by itself. What points out that when we stop trying, we notice that life goes on without our intervention. Breathing, blood circulation, the wind, the trees. Like a musician who, after years of technical practice, finally lets the music flow without thinking about each note. Connection with the outside world. Finally, the Master invites us to recognize that we are not separate from the world we perceive. It is like realizing that we cannot exist without the air, the water, the earth, and all the beings that surround us. When we see a tree, in a certain sense we are seeing a part of ourselves. Let me make a final reflection. The Master invites us to abandon the illusion of individual control in order to reconnect with a more natural and harmonious flow with everything around us. It is not about passivity, but about a different way of participating in life, from integration and not from separation, from flow and not from forcing. Thanks for joining me. See you in the next video.